Holy shift! We're in the high seas of Aquarius, y'all. Way up in a spacecraft. I don't know about you, but I forgot my Tums and my vomit bag. I forgot those details and more. Keep streaming for Namaste Today Live. It's Friday. It's Funday Friday. And I can't tell you more about how I want to sing that song right now. Welcome. I am Sensei Christopher Witecki. This is Namaste Today Live. Streaming live, you know that because you were waiting for it. Live all the way from Palm Springs, California. So grateful to be here with you folks. And we're on the seas of Aquarius, as I mentioned. It turns out not to be so groovy like the song and the musical, but we'll talk about that. First of all, if you are in one of our rooms, say hello in our super chat. They're all connected in a super chat. So when you say hi to someone here at YouTube, you're saying hi to someone in other platforms such as Facebook, Tumblr, X.com, and even Instagram. We are everywhere. It's a super network, and we're happy to be here. My name is Christopher Witecki. I'm the sensei to serious joy, and I'm here to help people raise their vibration and come into their hearts. Week after week, I have to say we have quite a following of people who have began to heal, to come to the next level in their life, and to manifest like crazy. We're going to have a great show tonight, but we do have an announcement. Unfortunately, we will not be having our ASTRO MINGLE segment. Mr. Josh Siegel is caught up with a health issue. Let's all send some prayer and some love to him. He could use it. It was quite a surprise, so it's one of the reasons why we're running a little behind tonight. So we're going to actually put off that episode to another night. Tonight will only be Namaste Today Live, which ought to be enough because there's so much to talk about, let me tell you. Let's start, first of all, with our week's news. Our Astro headlines of the week. Well, first of all, a big light bulb moment ahead. We're going to have our Mercury Cazimi happening on Sunday morning. And this is going to leave the rest of Sunday with a lot of clarity and hope. In fact, if you're confused about what to do, I would say wait until Sunday brunch time. And yikes, Batman, the sun is going to square Uranus at step 23. This means you may have a galactic ultimatum. There may be time to reframe your view of the future. I think as I'm running late, I'm moving fast. It's a good time to reframe your future. And if you have plans, plan to change your plans because surprises are coming. And so long and thanks for all the fish. That's right. A full moon in Leo is going to bring some falling out of relationships, connections. You may fall out of love with a person, place, or thing. And the question is, who or what is going to fill the void? And today, Namaste Today Live is sponsored by the 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma. We have upgraded this program. I'm going to tell you details, but first let's watch a little video that explains. If you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Serious Joy TV. Hit the bell button so you're notified. And if you don't mind, please like this video so we're notifying others of when we go live. Now, one thing you should know, we're also streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, even things like Instagram. So if you're watching there, please also hit the like button. And we'd like to hear your comments. We love to read what you're doing. And we actually have people that come out every week and read these for us and report back to me. So I get all those comments, even the mean ones. Now, tonight we're going to talk about our sponsor first, the 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma. You know, I'm really proud of how this turned out. One of the biggest questions I get in a personal reading is, can you tell me anything about my past lives? And the truth is that I have a special knack for it. I mean, I didn't expect it. In fact, when I started doing readings, I didn't even know or believe in my past lives. So it took some time. And I began over time to sort of see the secrets of the chart that reveal your past lives, that give details to your past lives. And actually now people who get readings with me tell me I need to put more about this life into it because I'm talking so much about the past. So I got a vision at some point. This happened with the 40 Days of Self-Love to deliberately align a conscious, let's say, makeover along with the astrology. We first did it with 40 Days of Self-Love. It was a huge hit. And by hit, I mean every day of, of the astrology, excuse me, and the step system, we line up a certain lesson in the program. So the 40 Days of Past Lives runs from 0 degrees Pisces all the way to 9 degrees Aries, which basically is the spectrum of going through all of your spirituality and then crafting an upgraded ego. So what ends up happening is you are going through this tour while consciousness is doing the tour anyways. In fact, you could say every year there's a 30-day tour of your past lives in Pisces. And every year there's a 30-day tour of your ego. This program is extremely unique because it deliberately uses the energies of the planets on that day to bring the truth forward. Now, it's actually a very easy program as far as commitment. All you have to do is listen to an audio or two. Sometimes there's extra lectures by Robbie. There's always a day of work spiritually with envisioning things with Kristen Ryder. She does amazing sound bowl work and helping you do some sacred geometry. And then there are questions. You basically have to journal. You journal each of the day, 9 to 10 questions. But these questions are proprietary. They ask you certain things about your life that are clues to the astrology that I know of past lives. And as you're going through the program, I have a special, cipher, where you can look up your planets and what it may mean. Well, I'll have to tell you, we'll have some testimonials coming soon, but a lot of people came to me and said, this program changed my life. It changed my life because, on the one hand, you realize you're not a schmuck, you're not an idiot, you don't have bad luck. You just have bad past lives. And you realize that your past lives have led to your karma, and your karma has led to your pain. And of course, your pain has led to all your suffering, right? So by coming to a clarity about your past lives and your karma, you're able to forgive yourself for a lot. You're able to let a lot of things go. And you also start to see the trajectory of what your purpose is. So it's a powerful program. Our subscribers last year got it for free by being subscribers. This year, we're letting in the general public for the first time. The normal price of this will be $149.95, $149, but guess what? We're knocking off $100 and we're making it $49.95 this year and this year only, all right? So I'm doing that because my guides told me to. I'm a Taurus, I'd rather do $149, but I think this is an opportunity. And let me tell you, if you're even considering the idea of taking it, take it, okay? You're gonna find out that a lot of your blocks are due to the fact that you're actually suffering from past life trauma and you're making it like this life is the bad one, when it's not. It's that you are projecting that old lifetime onto this one. And it's well worth the money, $50. It'll never be this cheap again. And you'll have lifetime access to the journaling, the answers, and everything you write. So if you want to know more, come on down to seriousjoy.cloud, seriousjoy.cloud. I think we got the QR code up there. And find out more about it. We'd love to see you. Now, one last thing. This is for my subscribers too, my clients. We now offer tutoring when it comes to this. So we put out 5 tutor sessions with teachers that are fully trained that will help you with extra questions that you may have, because the problem is it's the Pandora's box. Once you open it up, you're going to want to know more and more and more and more. And one of the frustrations we had with my faculty was we were spending 2-3 hours a day writing answers and comments that never really led as far as we wanted to, because it's kind of hard to describe, the answer to something when you can't talk to that person. So this year we've added on tutor sessions, and you can also get tutored in it. It's a affordable session. It's with 10 people in the same area or in the same class, and you will learn more about it and go deeper than you had before. That tutoring is also available at senseiChristopher.com. All right, friends, it's time to look at our planets and transits. I'm still calming down. This is a crazy, crazy week. The energy has been so intense, and I've done my best. I think I've had about 10 hours of sleep all week. I'm not kidding, just due to how busy things are. And, I'm not complaining. I'm so happy with where things are going. I mean, I'm on the path to serious joy every day. I'm glad that I actually, eat the food that I make and eat it. But this week is a really powerful week that we've had, because what the universe has done this last week has unveiled where parts of your outer life are not in sync with your inner life, in essence, right? And so that's where we happen to be. We might have found that a lot of things didn't jive. People didn't jive. Relationships didn't jive. I mean, I had at least 2 major relationships where I said, I don't think this is going to work, because we're just completely different vibes. We handle it completely differently. And so I don't see a repair here. So I think there's going to be a lot of that going forward. This last week also had Jupiter going direct. I think Jupiter going direct made me, kind of put me in a bit of a frenzy, frankly. Jupiter in Gemini at 11 degrees. And 11 has to do with living in your integrity. So, anything that was not in integrity, like you hadn't followed through with something, was really nagging. Once Jupiter went direct, I just felt this nagging about how I had to be more on top of things. And truth be told, I'm learning how to work more efficiently. I'm learning how to accept help. So I've got some junior things I'm still learning. I'm also learning how to be efficient. And all these things came to little fires, literally, in my life if I wasn't paying attention to it. So you might have felt that as well. Not to mention Mars retrograde right now in Cancer, really stirring the pot for everybody. Boy, people are cranky, including myself. And so I think there's a lot of interfacing with crankies and people being cranky and, being snotty. I don't think people's hearts wanted to be that way, but it certainly was unfolding. But let's look at the big picture of what's going on, give you a context, and then talk about what we can expect next. In the context of things, we are changing dimensions. We're changing timelines, basically. We're changing our root frequency. So everyone has a vibe, a natural vibe, right? And that vibe is based on where their consciousness lies. So it doesn't matter about outside circumstances, although people say it does. That's not true. The truth is that the inner world is what attracts the outer world. You could have a very wealthy person, and this is common actually, who is miserably depressed. Miserably depressed, low vibration, unhappy, complaining all the time, treating people poorly, and wealthy and successful. So we falsely believe that money and power will bring a happiness or a happy vibe to you, but that's not true. So people energetically choose to vibe a certain way. That vibration is based on who you are and whether or not you accept yourself or you resist yourself, whether or not you go along with your vibe or you try to work against it, whether or not you continue to follow the path of your vibe or you go on vibes that are not yours. How we allow ourselves to vibe on the inside is what we attract on the outside, right? So last week we were putting the finishing touches with this new inner vibe. And for most people that I talked to, the inner vibe had to do with, I don't want to feel bad about this anymore. I don't want to, be caught in this argument anymore. I don't want to have to explain that anymore. So there's a lot of endings going on the inside. And then as the sun moved to 11 and 12, then we started to realize, oh, now that I'm vibing this way, I can't be around this in my environment. I don't want to live there over here like I do over there. So a lot of conflict began to, let's say, rise up in our life. And last week, there was a lot of conflict, because one thing about Aquarius is it's really easy to be kind of blunt, honest truth when the sun's in Aquarius. Like I say things when the sun's in Aquarius that I would never say to someone. And sometimes it slips out. And there was a lot of that, people being kind of harsh, people being impatient. And I also found that a lot of people were still stuck on the old power regime, which is my life is bad because of you doing this. I'm unhappy because of you doing that. And a lot of that was in our company. We found complaints and things like that where people were blaming us for their happiness. And we're like, we don't create your happiness. We just teach you how to get there. It's not up to us. And the truth is, it's not up to you. So people are starting to see the codependencies that they have. I think with Mars retrograde, there's just less energy to go the extra mile. So finally, people who have been used by others, they're so tired that they don't have the energy to help those people. And because they kind of feel shut down and they feel tired, they realize, this is a one-sided situation. Or I'm always, waiting for them. Or I'm always, caught. I get the bad stuff. Everyone else gets the good. And I think because of ego flares being reduced a bit, people are seeing the truth. So that's one thing about Aquarius is it does expose the truth. I'd say next to Scorpio, it is the most truth-revealing sign there is because it's based on absolute truth, the law of attraction, which is your heart belongs with like-minded, like-hearted people, really, and you do not belong with people who don't have the same heart that you do. So thinking about this week, it's going to be a bit of a bumpy week. I'm not going to lie to you. And actually, things just get bumpier and bumpier from this point on. In the big context of things, what's happening is we're choosing a frequency, basically, and our first theme of the week is accepting my serious joy. And we say that because when you want something in life, you have to go for it and law of attract it, but you also have to accept it once it arrives. And a lot of people can't accept things, all right? The subplot of the week is catapulting my ascension. So let's talk about both these real quick. First of all, accepting my serious joy happens after the full moon. And what that means is you're going to evaluate between now and Wednesday, what's really a loving future and what's not a loving future. This very well probably be tied to a relationship, but it can be a vague relationship, like your relationship to the United States, right? Like, this isn't a good partnership. I don't want to be here anymore. Or it could be a relationship to a particular company, or it could be a relationship to a particular person. So I am predicting a lot of fallout, if not actually breaking up, but people realizing that this isn't going to work, and they're going to wait for the best time to draw that line. Now, the other part of accepting serious joy is you have to actually accept what you do receive in life. So there are people giving to you. There are people helping you. I rarely meet a person who goes completely without. And so have you taken that to heart? Have you allowed that to fill your heart, to fill you up? And so if you haven't, and God sees, or the universe sees that when we give Christopher something, he never takes it to heart, the universe stops giving because it's not received. And if it's not received, it's not registered with the universe. It didn't happen as far as the universe is concerned. And so you begin to whittle down or atrophy your ability to manifest. Now, the other part of this, and I forgot what the second was. Would you put that up again, Adam? I'm going to write like next week's show. Catapulting by ascension. So the catapulting of the ascension we'll do is that basically when you decide the right frequency for you, so you get in line with what your real tune is, what you really tune into, what you really enjoy, and you become on the right path, which moves faster. So a lot of reason why people aren't moving faster is because they have a lot of energy entangled with areas that they don't really belong. And so we haven't been growing that fast because we're sort of held back. We're tied down by several obstacles. So this week we get really real about where our heart belongs and doesn't. And this will then catapult your ascension to a higher level. Now, the other catapult will be step 22 Aquarius, which we'll talk about. The full moon in Leo at 24 degrees. The Kazemi that happens on Sunday. Many factors that are going to speed things up. And by the way, it just gets faster and faster from here. So why don't we do a deep dive on each of the planets and give you some examples of how this will unfold. Yeah, I'm suddenly a little short of breath, and I don't know why, because I was perfectly fine just before we rolled, so it might be me picking up on the audience. Like I put some boundaries up, I didn't do it yet. So the sun in Aquarius. Well, the sun will move from 19 today to 20 tomorrow. That's a big deal, actually, from 2026, because once you get into the 20s, you're now broadcasting frequencies, okay? When you're in the teen degrees, you're sort of just bouncing off of your life. But when you're in the 20s, you are setting out huge vibration, kind of almost like from a mountaintop kind of thing. And not only is it huge vibration, but depending on the emotional energy behind it and the passion behind it, it can also be incredibly penetrating and very powerful as well. So the world gets a little humid, if you will, starting tomorrow on Saturday, because we're going to feel everything. The two is I feel. We're going to feel our boundaries. We're going to feel our heart. We've been able to sort of disconnect from that for most of the season because Aquarius by nature has this ability to go cold and detach. But when we get into the 20s of Aquarius, that's not possible anymore. From that point on, you have to feel it, your way through it. So this week, depending on how good of a relationship you have with your feelings, will determine whether or not it's going to be overwhelming or it's going to be productive for you. It can be both. Now, Mercury is in Aquarius. Mercury goes from step 16 all the way to 0 Pisces. So our mind this week will pretty much plot out how we see our life going and to what level or what height do we go. Mercury is our mind only, though. It's not our heart. Our heart has to do it for it to actually happen. But Mercury is going to be planning the future. And by the end of the week, when it plunges into Cancer, you'll get a little more slurry. So if you have important business to do, get it done by the end of the week, because once Mercury's in Pisces, it's kind of hard to concentrate and stay in the moment. And of course, Pluto, look at little Pluto down here at 2 degrees. Now, Pluto at 2 is very important because Pluto is helping us to put some boundaries around our own feelings. Why is this important? Well, if your feelings down here are corrupted, then every 2 up here is corruption plus, corruption plus. So it's extremely important that you feel cared for at the baby level. The terrible 2-year-old inside of you needs to be pampered, nurtured, and loved. And you want to keep negativity and ugly stuff away from your feelings. It's not a time to take your emotions personally with everyone. If you take everything personally, you're going to be polluting your ability to put out the right signal, and then you'll be broadcasting toxicity to the world for attraction instead of the purity that you want. So it's extremely important to protect your feelings and use boundaries as necessary to protect your feelings. One example would be, every time I go to this person's house, they insult me and I end up getting hurt. Well, here to protect your feelings, don't go. Don't go. You know what I mean? You don't have to tell them why, just don't go. That would be the mature and responsible thing to do to protect you, because it's literally wired that if you're not protected here, you're going to have a real problem with step 20 with the sun. And because it's 20 and Pluto's in the sign of Aquarius, it could really be damaging, you could say. All right, let's go to Cancer, though. In Cancer, we still have Mars. He moves from 18 to 17. Now, Mars at 18 is part of the anxiety, at least I've been feeling. It's a Grandmaster degree for Mars. It means that you're realizing that your current behavior is not going to work. And you're also realizing how your current trajectory or your current behavior might be undermining your emotions and your emotional security. So, yes, what the person did upset you, but it's you that thought about it all night. It's you that let it linger into a shitty email. It's you that had to strike back. Most of the time, people are the ones that keep themselves feeling bad. And part of that is the ego. The ego is always pushing for a fight or conflict or division. And so subconsciously, that's what Mars is working on, is let's respond differently to outside stimulus. So we are in a nice, content blanket, and we're not affected by others. Then moving on to Gemini. With Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter is at 11 degrees, or step 11. And it stays at step 11 for the entire month of Aquarius, the entire Aquarius season. I cannot remember a time that any planet I know has stayed at the same degree for an entire month, to be honest. No, that's not true. Uranus was on my sun for 97 days straight when I disappeared. But that's a slow-moving planet. I'm talking really about Jupiter and what Jupiter offers. Now, what this does is Jupiter now direct says it's time now to have all your thoughts be in integrity. And integrity means that your thoughts, your words, they're all in alignment with what your heart would want. They're in alignment with what your heart would want on the inside, and they're in alignment with what your heart would want on the outside. So now with Jupiter direct in Gemini, there's no excuses. You do know what's right and what's wrong. If you let your mind go there, it's going to create havoc that you don't need. Now let's look at the moon for the week real quick. Let me take a drink. The moon this week is definitely set up for temper tantrums. Right now the moon is in Gemini, and it will be tomorrow. So if you have an important conversation with somebody, do it Sunday if you can, but the moon will only be in Cancer. So I'd say do it sometime Saturday, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult, and probably your last chance, because unattended to relationships before Leo full moon, that Leo full moon will probably ruin things if there's not work done. So it's really important that you tell the people you love that you love them. It's really important that they know that it's not about them, unless it is, of course. And it's really important that you express that you belong in this relationship. You feel like it's a good one, because that full moon in Leo is going to be a big breakup full moon. And this is a time where people can be completely delusional, have the wrong information about you, make a stupid mistake, and start burning the bridge before they even realize it's not you that's the problem. And then, of course, how do you take it then? Because they burn the bridge. They didn't give you benefit of doubt either. So I see a lot of those accidental breakups happen and things like this. So tomorrow, Gemini, good day to process, communicate. Come Sunday, we have the moon in Cancer. And this is going to be a moody moon in Cancer. Because what we're doing is we are realizing that our feelings that harbor pain and harbor suffering and harbor other things is what's keeping you from what you want, right? So if you're feeling, for instance, if you let yourself feel broke all the time, like I feel broke, I feel penniless, I feel like the world's not treating me right. Okay, that's how you feel. How do you want to feel? Right? If you don't start swimming towards how you want to feel, you're going to manifest and attract more issues where you are not abundant. So we're really starting to realize as a species now how important our feelings are, because they end up echoing and broadcasting our intentions. Aquarius would be the vibe, and then Cancer would be the broadcast, emotion. So Saturday, Sunday, and early Monday, there's a lot of emotional processing. And of course, we're in the far 20s. So with the moon in Cancer and every step starting with a 2, you have to be really careful to hold the vibe correctly. Then Tuesday, we go into the moon in Leo, where it will build to an apex full moon in Leo on Wednesday morning. And so the heart is going to have some sort of a Disney moment where you realize your heart's not happy with the way things are going. You realize your heart's not being fulfilled. And you realize that your heart is attached to the wrong person, place, or thing. And that person, place, or thing can also be an idea, for the record. You're attached to this idea that someone's going to come in the door and sweep you off your feet. Highly unlikely, okay, for most things. Not that you can't have that, but highly unlikely. So the heart will be disappointed until the full moon, where they will take their power back, like Irene Cara singing a song in the 80s. And then you'll find that glorious full moon turns into joy, hope, and optimism, which is what we'll feel for the rest of that night. Then come Wednesday later, we have the moon in Virgo. And so this is mostly a processing of the details involved with divorce, right? So I'd say most people are going to divorce something on Wednesday, Thursday, because it's not healthy. They're not making them happy, not putting them on the course for what they're here to do. And so there'll be a lot of detail sorting for the last 3 days of the week as you realize that you have to separate yourself from things and then allow yourself to grow or nurture or heal other things. All right, but in Pisces right now, the North Node is on Neptune, which is partly what I may be feeling. The North Node on Neptune means God Universe is saying, okay, surrender your direction into this current. This current is what your telepathy and psychic awareness are telling you. So it's time to go ahead and just go with that flow. Sense where you're supposed to be. Answer questions from your intuition. Listen to your intuition about everything. And if it's a choice between what you sense and what makes sense, a lot of times what we sense to do does not make sense in the logical way. In fact, most of the time when I get advice from heaven, it doesn't make sense. Now, I've learned to understand what they're saying and why they're sending me there. And it's because, to get yourself out of human jams, you got to sometimes do the unconventional. But my point is that when we're being led by spirit, quite often it makes no sense. There's no evidence pointing in that direction. Seems sort of random to anyone you tell. And that's the hardest thing too, is like when you receive guidance from your higher self, usually everyone around you in your life thinks that's a stupid idea. Well, they're part of the old, of course. They may or may not join you on that path, of course. So you have to give your power of persuasion to your spiritual energy and not to your physical life. Now, Saturn goes from 17 to 18 Pisces this week, which means you're making some decisions right now. And I'll talk about this in the horoscopes about what they are. But you're making some decisions that are going to change your fate. And gosh, there's been a couple times where I thought, I was just surprised that people made that decision. Really surprised, because I thought we were on a different page. I thought things were on a different page. You might have to make some hard calls, because once Saturn goes to 18, it's time to move forward and put it in action. And trust me, Aries and Taurus are so busy this year, you want to have those karmic cords cut. If you have to cut them with someone in particular, you don't have to make it forever. You can say, you know what? For the next 90 days, let's just practice this way and see if we miss each other, and go from there too. So it can be gentle. It can be compassionate, but it needs to happen. And of course, Mercury zips up its transit, I think, going on there. Mercury's still at the bottom. I think Mercury's supposed to be there. It's a little mistake. But we're good there. Let's go into Virgo. The North Node, of course, is from 28 to 27 Pisces. And so the South Node is between 28 and 27 Virgo. So 27 Virgo is the wrecking ball. So once it hits 27, you will sabotage or destroy or demolish aspects of reality that no longer serve you. For people in crazy denial, it may be a surprise. For people who are awake, you're not surprised. You saw that coming a long time ago. You might be surprised at the timeliness of it. Like, why did it happen now? That's possible. But you probably won't be surprised of what's tearing down. I had someone write to me or talk to me recently, and it was like, oh my God, everything in my life is falling apart. He goes, I don't know what to save first. I said, save none of it. Save none of it. Because if it's falling apart now, it's probably because it was built on false foundation. It's an uneven, unequal relationship. You're putting in more than you receive. It's losing money. It's hemorrhaging time. Why are you trying to keep it alive? Right? Because when the universe clears the way for something else, you receive something else. So we're doing a lot of demolishing of relationships, jobs, situations, homes that simply don't serve us because they were created during a time when you were facing your suffering, which is the story you were born to. All right, that's Virgo. So Taurus, pretty interesting. Taurus is at step 23, and the sun will actually square Taurus this week. That means that there's going to be a major shift in direction and plans. And I've been telling everyone, go ahead and plan, but plan to change your plans. And that conjunction, that square, I'm not sure where it is right here, but I'll give details later. But it is a turning point because the full moon's at 24. So it's just before the full moon, you realize, I don't know, maybe I don't have to do it this way. Maybe we can do it that way. And I've been surprised even in my life how plans have changed just because my karma and the learning I've had made me realize that I was on the right path, even though I was certain that I was. So stay flexible with that. In Libra, the one thing we have is Black Moon Lilith in Libra. And she goes from 24 to 25 this week. I guess we don't have a BML, BML graphic. She goes from 24 to 25. Okay, it's 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Is when the sun squares Uranus. Thank you. Which is right before the moon, right? So, but Black Moon Lilith is where our fears are. Notice how she starts at 24. So all your worst fears are coming up about relationships. And 24 Libra is the grandmaster sign of relationships. So we're facing fears right now. And I have to say, I'm facing them too. Like, I have someone right now has been needing help in my life. And it's making me bitter and angry because of the times that I gave people help and they didn't reciprocate or didn't appreciate. And I realized that's my trauma. And I'm projecting onto this person who is not a part of it. So, sometimes you are being a jerk or being hard on people because you have trauma in that area. Now, Black Moon Lilith won't heal it, but she will reveal it. And I think this week alone, if you have some sort of trauma come up about relationships, you should really face it with your whole heart and do everything you can to leave that fear behind. And then lastly, Aries. Aries, they are Chiron at 19. And boy, today was tough because, the sun was was sextiling Chiron, and the sun's at 19 degrees Gemini. And so 19 degrees Aquarius, excuse me. And so we really had a lot of karmic actions come up today. I've noticed with everybody that I know and work with, something karmic came up. Karma meaning like this ain't your first rodeo. And so today in particular, we had a lot of things come up that looks like the past, but actually wasn't. And that's what you have to be careful about, is not recreating the future. Now, the best thing to do is just to respond to your 19, respond to your heart, 9 to the 1, and don't respond to the world. If someone calls you a jerk, go inside, start healing yourself from that call, but don't get into a fight or argument with that person because you will renew the contract and you'll start it all over again. So careful there. But here's the saddest news I have for the week. Venus is now in Aries. Sorry, Aries. That's literally her opposite sign. She's in detriment. And she's fixing to go retrograde in March or in Pisces. So right now it's a lot harder to accept things about ourselves. And so we are here to accept things. But Venus in this early space from 1 to 6 Aries means you're going to be forced to accept things in yourself. And because Venus is the one doing it, you won't have much satisfaction outside of you. You won't be nurtured outside of you. So if a person is really unhappy with who they are, Venus in Aries will get to the bottom of it, but Venus won't be on the outside to nurture and help. So it's kind of a tough medicine sort of transit. Alrighty. Well, we're going to do something a little different. Coming up, we're going to have the Zodiac weather. We're going to play that for you in full, and we have a few commercials. Take a little intermission, and when I come back, it'll be your soul horoscope, so we'll talk about you. Keep streaming. This Zodiac weather is from Saturday, February 8th to Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Taking a look at the weekend forecast. Over the weekend, things get a little tense and perhaps a little emotional panic, but as Sunday afternoon rolls around, you'll be experiencing the sun back out with a rainbow. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's cloudy with a chance of panic. Step 20 means the moon rules the day. This means that feelings will be in the high minds of Gemini, then plunge into low vibrations of fear in Cancer. You realize you belong being safe, and you're emotionally purifying the new relationship to yourself. At the end of the day, it's all about taking care of yourself and holding that space. On Sunday, the sun comes out and you are sunny and courageous. Step 21 is when it starts to get fun. Jupiter rules the day, opening up to unlimited possibilities. You realize and recognize you belong being limitless in your approach, and you gotta do what you gotta do. On top of that, Mercury conjuncts the sun over the evening, which is Kazemi. That means the mind and heart are now on the same page. And earlier that day, you might have felt Mars trine Saturn, where your ego got in line with your commandments. Taking a look at the 5-day weekday forecast, the week opens up with a bang, climaxes with a full moon, and ends with a decision. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and boosted. Step 22 indicates Uranus rules the day. Expect minor breakdown and breakthrough. Energetically, you realize you belong alchemizing rather than complaining, and it's time to rise up to a new calling. Mercury squares Uranus, providing some ideas that, to say the least, are outside of the box. On Tuesday, it's sunny and creative. Step 23 means Mercury now rules the day. It's an excellent day for communication, drafting a letter, or perhaps talking to someone about important things. With Mercury ruling the day, you realize you belong reconciling situations, and you're coordinating your visions for your highest and best outcome. The moon shifts from high Cancer into low Leo, so your heart may feel a setback. But with the sun squaring Uranus, expect the unexpected, especially with brilliant ideas. On Wednesday, it's sunny yet open. Step 24 means that Venus rules the day, and the day begins with a full moon in Leo at 24 degrees. This is a Venus-ruled degree, which means this will be a very calm and peaceful full moon with possibly ferocious results. It's time to be flexible, and now you're releasing the old terms for something you just can't refuse. On top of that, there's a strange moment of quiet as the moon goes void of course for 5, almost 6 hours. On Thursday, it's cloudy and you are rendering. Step 25 indicates that Neptune rules the day. The moon is grounding it in Virgo consciousness, and you realize that you belong faithful. You're having to release what you think and feel on the inside because you know there's better things coming on the outside, and with Mercury squaring Juno, you may have to reconcile with 1 or 2 relationships. And then on Friday, it's sunny and crispy. Step 26 means that Saturn rules the day, giving an air of responsibility that you have to get going. But with the moon in Virgo, it may add a layer of obsession and over-attention to detail. You'll recognize it's time to be commanding in life, and it's time for you to manifest a new karmic reality. But no worries, with Mercury moving into Pisces, you're ready to just go with the flow.
I believe we need to come together once a year. Thank you for believing in yourself. Thank you for believing in us. Where do you need help? What resources do you need?
You are much closer to making your dent in social media than you think.
You're that leader.
Oh my gosh, y'all, Unite the Light is coming. I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're having a blast planning this thing. Let's let you know it's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, May 17th, 18th, and 19th. The 19th is something we call Afterglow, and we're keeping it a secret. It's a total secret. You have to just know from your intuition you should go or not. But it's going to be a special third day of very subtle festivities. So it's going to be very cool as well. You know, this is a great place to meet your own like kind, by the way. I've never had a room full of light workers until that. And when I mean true light workers, I mean we were stoned. Like we were just like so high off the energy, and that was just us sitting in silence. So it made it a little bit easier than you would think for the event to go off without a hook. But I've also planned the event over the sun conjuncting Uranus in Taurus. So it's going to be like to the moon and back. We will have the website up probably early next week or midweek next week. We'll have it up next week. We're doing some new features, and we're dividing up the tickets differently this year. There is a VIP section, which we now call the Ascended tickets. So if you want to be treated like an Ascended Master, we're going to actually have that whole level for fine dining, so to speak, the fine level, white glove kind of stuff. We've priced the tickets to where you don't have to get to dinner if you don't want, and you don't have to get VIP to get to dinner. And then there's a special price for Afterglow, and that's going to be really fun and worth the money, by the way, if you do it. And you'll be thankful that you did. Just say that. Those are my teasers. We'll have some stuff up next week to tell you. Also, there was another promo on there for my Countdown 2025. By the way, that is available for immediate watching at senseichristopher.com. And you will find that this is the map of what to do this year. I'm giving you the map and a cipher, too, that allows you to decode it for you and all your friends. So highly recommend it. I'm just going to say that. I can't say more. You know, God Universe is giving you the way. It's up to you to actually walk through, right? It's up to you to bring you the water, but you've got to drink. And I think right now, if I were me, and this is to sell my product, yes, but it's also to tell the truth, I wouldn't go through this year without having a map. I wouldn't. It's just too crazy. You can see already how crazy it's getting. All right, let's talk about you, shall we? Soul Horoscopes. We're now turning this back to the title of Soul Horoscopes. So technically it's tea time, as we like to say, but that's old. You know, it's time to move on to the new era and redefine ourselves. And Serious Joy is doing a lot of that redefining, by the way. We're just doing so much. And one of the things that we're doing is changing over the shows. We're going to have a new show coming out, by the way. I want to make an announcement. I don't even think Adam knows this yet. Well, he does. But I don't know if he made a Chiron buddy, but I just want to talk about how we're going to be live streaming this Wednesday. We'll be live streaming to the entire Serious Story TV network. And this is going to be our mega monthly Zodiac report with me and Robbie Hunt. We go live Wednesday. I don't know what the date is. Tell me what the date will be on Wednesday, somebody. And it will be at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And we basically go through the month of Pisces. Serious Joy does it differently. We go month by month by sign only. So unlike other 30-day programs, Wednesday the 12th. Thanks, brother. Wednesday the 12th at 1 p.m. You can show up right here, Twitter, whatever, and you'll get a full understanding of what to expect in Pisces. I'm real excited about this show. I'm real happy to work with Robbie. And I'm real happy that we're expanding our brand outside the firewall. All right, so let's talk about you, shall we? I think the most important aspect of this week's Soul Horoscope is the full moon. The full moon that apexes early Wednesday morning. Let me just see here. Yeah, the full moon is in Leo at, I don't have it handy, early in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you can verify that too, Adam. We usually have it in our notes, but we're kind of switching over things. And this full moon, let me talk about it right now, is ultimately, it's at 24 degrees and it conjuncts the Earth. So the thing about a full moon is first of all, is a release. And it's a release because it's full emotion. The more light on the moon, the more emotion is bouncing back to Earth. So a full moon tends to tip the scales. If somebody is like way out of line and has been for a long time, and something's been on its last leg, full moon will go ahead and kill it, right? Put it out of its misery. Now this 24-degree full moon in Leo means that we will be putting relationships out of our misery or mutual misery, right? Because 24 is the grandmaster step of relationships. But it could also be a creative project that is nixed. So you're not going to do the film now, or not going to do this project. It could be plans for something you had that your heart once wanted, but really doesn't want much. One doesn't want anymore. So things that are obsolete. And because the full moon conjuncts the Earth at the time of the apex, as soon as you kill off that thing, you basically create the egg, which is the Earth, the egg in which to get pregnant with your ideas. The egg is now ready to be pregnant again. So it makes us quite fertile. I want to let you know that it's like 2 days after that full moon, you're ready to birth a new plan. And you might actually be ready to start that plan on the full moon. I wouldn't, though. I wouldn't start that full moon. I'd wait to the next new moon, which comes 2 weeks later. And that's when I would do it if I were you. Because there's a lot of stuff going in Pisces. There's still some more clearing. So go ahead and let the old plans die on the full moon and surrender to the story on the new moon, which you intend to create. Excuse me. I'm going to just drink a little bit. Tired of my throat. Tea time. So, for each of the 12 signs, where you're going to shift your frequency, because on the other side of the full moon is the sun. So the sun, which is your heart, is saying, I can't be attached to this anymore because it's freaking me out. You know what I mean? It's causing problems. And so that's the release. You got to let go of this vibration. And so there's a part where once you let go of the vibration, now you're free to be who you really want. You're free, which is Aquarius, and you can be authentic, which is honest, and you can express yourself in better ways. So for each of the signs, I'm going to talk about where you can express yourself better as a result of releasing some relationship in the Leo side. I'll also talk about the fact that Mercury enters into Pisces. So I said that our mind dives into Pisces at the end of the week. It means that our mental focus is going to be weird, okay? Because when Mercury's in Pisces, things get a little foggy. People also get a little delusional. They kind of think they can do something that they can't. Like people who try stupid stunts and then get hurt, that kind of thing. But it's also that your mind is quite intuitive. So you might get a lot of intuitive downloads. So for all 12 signs today, I'll talk about where you can expect those downloads to be and where to keep your eye on the ball mentally. And then I'm going to talk about Mars trine Saturn. This week, Mars will trine Saturn. Now, Mars is retrograde still, but that trine is basically a correcting of your course on the Mars side, which allows you to take responsibility on the Saturn side. And so what that comes down to is that you're going to be get ready to go somewhere, get ready to get moving in an area of your life that is going to ultimately be part of your karma. And if you don't do it, also a part of your karma. So you definitely want to go forward in that area when I talk about it. Alrighty? We'll start first with hold on. So funny. Something in my breath. Aries. Aries, well, you are having a full moon in the area of your heart, your personal dreams, something you're attached to as far as an artist project or a creative project, and that's probably going to die or not come to fruition like you thought. Don't hold on to it because you're just going to waste your time. They can always come back. If it's real love, it'll come back. All right. So if it's real, it'll come back. But now you need at least a break so you can fill your palette with something more interesting to create and a new way to express yourself. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to change your ability with your social ambition. You probably can't align yourself with certain products or projects because you're attached emotionally to something else. It could also be that you let go of a romantic relationship, not a good partnership per se, but a relationship, and letting go of that lets you be who you really want to be in the world. So whatever you're letting go of, it was keeping you from being yourself in the world or keeping you from allowing yourself to be someone else. The next version of you, I mean. Now, Mercury entering Pisces means that your thoughts will be littered with karmic thoughts. So you got to really check any thought that comes up that's ridiculous, like, I think she's trying to kill me. Okay, hold on. Do I really sense that that's the case? Does my heart tell me that's true? Okay, then that means the mind's picking up on karma. So, be clear on that. On the other hand, what's cool is that, excuse me, is that that Mercury in the 12th means that you're going to be very psychic. You might receive some downloads, as we like to say in our business, and you'll definitely be telepathic too. So don't be surprised if you think of someone and they text message an hour later, or right then, even better. Now, Mars trine Saturn for you means that you're going to ultimately align your emotional security on the one hand with your spiritual faith on the other. So something happens probably with emotional security, something with at home or family, and whatever happens, you suddenly have greater faith. Saturn's like, yes, that's what we need to do to end this karma or create greater faith. You could say that it could be you healing from a karmic childhood situation where you finally let it go. But it's powerful because it makes you stronger in all sorts of ways. All right. Next up is Taurus. Taurus, you are, I was just thinking about how it's going to apply to me. I'm like, you are going to end an emotional relationship you have to home or family, or an emotional relationship you have to security. Maybe you felt like emotional security came from money in the bank, or maybe you thought emotional security was knowing what the next thing is going to happen, or maybe your emotional security comes from a person who nurtures you instead of you nurturing yourself. So you're going to let go of this baby blanket. You're going to let go of this baba. All right. And this baba is necessary because it's keeping you from doing what you really need to do and building the emotional foundation that you need. It could also be, I guess, excuse me, you letting go of a relationship you have to something like a substance or something you're codependent with, like that's not human, and that you've been using that for security. And now you're saying, nope, I need to find my emotional security on my own terms. That's quite possible also. But here's the deal. Whatever this is, it's been keeping you from your greatest at work. It's been keeping you from your greatest work, and it's holding back your legacy and your career. So it has to go and be replaced with something better. Good or gooder, as I like to say. But whatever it is, and you're having trouble in your career, it's probably because you're not well enough nurtured. And so the universe is exposing that as something that needs to be fixed, and fixed now. Now, Mercury going into Pisces means that your mind now is going to be focused on your place in the world. So a lot of world planning, a lot of social reputation planning, a lot of communications with new people. One thing I've been noticing is like a lot of new contacts coming in. I'm going to be working with a lot of new people this next year and this year. And so I'm already seeing that, but you're going to sort of see the cosmic and karmic connections to that. And your mind will be a little foggy. So, think twice before you speak up, because you could easily say something from your subconscious you did not mean to say. Now, the Mars trine Saturn, Mars retrograde in your third house is helping you to divorce emotion from thoughts. So you're learning how to get rid of the attitude. You're learning how to not let a bad mood turn into a bad essay, so to speak. And with Mars trining Saturn, it means that you're going to realize that by responding differently inside of your mind, you actually have better power and potential in society. So if you have a problem with saying too much or posting too much or exposing too much, it'll become clear, but you'll have the resources and the strength and responsible energy to get it done. By the way, today the sun is on my Saturn in the 11th in Gemini, so it's been a little kooky, but good. Gemini! Geminis, I've been watching you. Geminis are interesting. This full moon for you, Gemini, has to do with an attitude. You've been married to some sort of attitude. And I know I can name the attitude for every Gemini I know. You know what I mean? And the attitude is not spoken, but it's clear in every word you say, right? The words you choose, the tone of your voice or whatever. You've just been married to this attitude. And that attitude can be nice guys always finish last, or a person like me can't get ahead in life, or, that sort of attitude. And that attitude needs to go. If your heart doesn't agree with it, it's not meant to be there. And so what the planets say is, hey, this full moon is going to allow you to let go of that attitude. And as a result, you're going to be able to be much sharper on what your purpose is in life. You're going to be clear on your purpose and ready to go to that level. So, you could know your purpose right now, but the planets say you've got some sort of attitude, and that attitude is unfortunately stifling the ride. Now, when it comes to the other that I was talking about, which is Mercury entering into Pisces, you're going to find that your focus really shifts to career, legacy, parenting, self-leadership, self-discipline. So I think in absence of whatever you obsess on, you're starting to now have a lot more focus and potential for what you're here to do and what you're here to learn and grow. And then, of course, this trine between Mars and Saturn, Mars in the second for you is stirring things up about self-worth, your ability to make money for yourself. I mean, there's a lot of stirring around it. And I think you don't feel like you're getting paid what you deserve. Probably true. But you're going to come to understand, let's say, a new attitude about that. And as a result of the attitude, you're going to find that your career really sharpens up. So once you clean that attitude out about money, or that chip on your shoulder about money, then you're going to find you know exactly where to go for work. And it's funny, when I've been unemployed way back in the day, I always struggled with jobs that I thought would be cool, but didn't pay enough. And so I would take the uncool job to make more money. Now I realize I would never do that again. So, what you really want may be something that doesn't pay well, but if you get that job for a while and keep looking for another one, you're more likely to get a new job once you have accepted the one you love over money. So that's a little clue I just want to give to you. Do everything with them? We did. Okay, good. Cancers. Cancers, you are moving forward now with a full moon to release issues you have around money, your relationship to abundance, your relationship to debt, your relationship to manufacturing, your relationship to big money, big loans, investments like that. That's what you're letting go of. And by letting go of that attitude or that relationship, which is like, oh, I'm always married to poverty, or I'm always the one that gets the worst job or the one that doesn't pay. Now that you let that relationship go on the full moon, it will free you now to actually find exactly how to change your life the way you need to. So what the universe is saying is, you haven't been able to get the job you deserve, or the things that you want, or change your life the way you want to, because you've got some sort of attitude or emotional relationship to money, or abundance, or wealth, and that relationship is expired. So let that go, and embrace what changes need to happen. Now, looking at Pisces, once Mercury goes into Pisces at the end of the week, that for you will mean that you'll be very theoretical. You'll be ready for education. You might start processing, wanting to learn about another country or learn another language. Your mind's just going to go into a whole new place. And I think it's been somewhat hijacked with this issue I just brought up, with boundaries that lead to money issues. And then the trine between Mars and Saturn. Ultimately, Mars in Cancer is your first house. So this is you, how you act, how you respond to everything. And what the universe is saying is, hey, it's time to open up now to a new way of responding to yourself, therefore a new way of responding to others. And once you do, because of this trine, you'll be much more clear about exactly what your purpose is and what your purpose isn't. So the universe is saying, hey, you're stuck in certain ways because you won't let go of these ego issues, or chip on your shoulder about strength and whatnot. So good luck with that, Cancers. I'm looking forward to it. What we got here? Okay. All right. Leos. Oh my goodness, I'm excited for us. You have to let go of a relationship you had to a certain character that you put yourself out there as. So Leos are good at putting up an image, and that image really draws in a lot of people, talent, beautiful people to you, opportunity to you. But was that image authentic? Okay, were you able to be authentic? And whose game were you playing, yours or someone else's? So the full moon is a death of one of your egos. It could be the death of a wardrobe. It could be the death of a look. You know how many times Madonna has reinvented her look, who's a Leo, so it could be a look makeover. It's some sort of relationship your ego has to something else in life. So it could be that your ego is attached to a certain company, but they're not paying you what you're worth, or something like that. So the full moon says, enough with that. No more attachment between your character and this sort of thing. What that does is give you autonomy to go find long-term partnerships that really serve your needs. So Leos are on the countdown to marriage if you're not already married. And if you said to yourself, I'm never going to get married, the universe is begging to differ. You will, because you are in a marriage transit right now that was going to last quite a while with Pluto in this space. Now, Mercury is going to enter the 8th house. So come the end of the week, you're going to kind of withdraw. You're going to go into your private side. You're going to be hard to find. You're going to want privacy. You might face some trust issues, but those trust issues are probably karmic. Like you're always feeling those issues when it comes to trust. So, don't be alarmed by that. But overall, it does mean that you're going to start to see things that were hidden from you, whether you were the one doing the hiding or someone else was. So you're about to see a dose of the truth, basically. Be mindful of that. And then the trine going on with y'all. Mars in Cancer for you is in the 12th house. So you've been stirring the deep, deep sides of your subconscious. God knows I have. And so you will come to a point where you're ready to let some sort of karmic issue go. And whatever this issue is, it deals with your faith, having faith in yourself. But what the trine says is that it will directly relate now, this trine, to your 8th house of trust and intimacy. So what this is saying is that you ultimately have had a hard time trusting and a hard time being who you're meant to be, because you have had this karmic hang up where you're sort of haunted by some sort of ghost that doesn't exist. So you could say that you find the ghost, or you realize it's a friendly ghost, And as soon as you do, you'll feel more inspired to make those uncomfortable changes. And that's one reason why Leos don't change, because they want comfort, and change is not usually comfortable. All right. Virgos. Virgos, you are ultimately going to have a change of faith in your relationship to God. So I think Virgos have had some really good times. I've been talking to you all about the luck you've had. The universe wants you to prosper and wants you to survive. And so it's forcing something. It's forcing that old story you told yourself that God was out to get you, or that you didn't have good help from God. Everyone else does, but not you, or the angels don't like you. I've heard all these things from Virgos. And it's like, nope, sorry, your relationship to God is not going to be that anymore. You're going to realize there's a better connection that will give you faith and will fill your heart with intention to do. And so the full moon is a change of relationship to God, which then gives you the freedom to make changes to your lifestyle. So it sounds like you're going to want a lifestyle that takes a lot of faith to pull off. And that lifestyle might be work style as well. It might be the way you do things, a process you do them. That's going to be what ends up sharpening and getting better, because you let go of this antiquated idea or emotions around God universe. Now, Mercury in the seventh, Mercury in Pisces means that your mind is going to be focusing on your mirage. So come the end of the week, you're going to do a lot of processing about yourself. Be careful. Don't let yourself get obsessed with someone else. Wait till Mercury's higher up there. So it's not about them. It's about you. And mostly it's about you forgiving yourself. Forgiving means you let it go. Stop bringing it up all the time and stop thinking about it. That's forgiveness. That's letting it go. Just tell yourself it's okay and move on. Now, the Mars trine Saturn situation for you, Mars for you is stirring in the house of society. You're being forced to face feelings that keep you from succeeding in the world. These are patterns that you do, caused by you. Yes, you may attract people that instigate it, but that was still you in the law of attraction. You attracted them because you're ready now to get over whatever chip you have on your shoulder about being fairly treated in the world. And most Virgos I know have that chip. Very rarely do I find a Virgo that doesn't have, and a little bit bitter about what had once happened, all right? So you're going to be getting rid of that. And when you do, Saturn in Pisces says you'll be open with this chip off your shoulder now for some real good relationships. So it looks like you've been holding back your daily life fun and success because of, your relationship to God. And it looks like you've been holding back true love because of your chip on your shoulder about life. So respond differently emotionally and things will unfold. All righty. Take a drink here before you talk to Libra. Libras! Libra, you are now letting go of a reputation or an ambition you had in society. So, for instance, I think Harris, now that she didn't pass and become president, she needs a relationship to society. She's not going to be vice president or president, right? And so it's some sort of relationship you have to society. And by the way, bring Harris up because she has a lot of Libra in her. She's Scorpio with a Libra rising. So you're letting go of that relationship that you once had with the society or how you related to society. Can't do that now, dude. I'm sorry. Sorry, they're working on things like we're live. So you're letting go of some relationship to society, and that could literally be like a social image you have, or it could be, an ambition you had. And when you do let that go, you then allow yourself to pursue your serious joy. So the planets are saying you'd be happier right now if you weren't pretending to be something you're not, or being forced to play a role you don't want to play in the world. You want your dreams to come true? Pull away from anything that's not in alignment with your dreams. Now, Mercury going into Pisces means that you're going to be very mindful of your health. And if you have a lot of stress in your body and stress in your nervous system, could very well cause disease and sickness in your body. So be conscious. All that thinking is going to take a hit on the body and your health. So try to keep it in balance, which is what you're good at. And then lastly, the Mars Saturn trine. Mars, of course, is stirring for you in a Cancer. And ultimately, that stirring is causing problems in your daily life, all right? And the Cancer issue has to do with you in the world, and you particularly with where career may be going. So a lot of stirring about career, what to do, what choices to make. And so what it looks like is you're going to get clear on your moodiness that you have about your career and not being what you want it to be. And once you get that under emotional wraps, then suddenly your lifestyle is going to be a lot smoother, and you're going to find the things in your daily life that you really need. So it looks like Libras have an attitude problem about career and leadership, and that has to shift. All right. Scorpios. Scorpios, you've been emotionally attached to something about your career or legacy that you had a relationship to the future. That relationship to the future might have been, a cross you thought, a cross you would have to bear, or that relationship might have been that you would one day be a certain way. And that connection that this is who you are, or this is how you're going to relate to those career objectives, the way you once related to career is going to ultimately die, and it'll give you a new way of relating to your career. Now, I'm not saying your career will change. It may or may not. This is the relationship you have to the future, the relationship you have to these bigger goals in life. Now, that full moon takes that away, and then from that point on, you're going to be in a place to really feel secure. You may also be in a place to buy a home or sell a home, or for a change in your family, because you detached from what your heart wasn't into anymore in your career and legacy. It actually gives you stronger career options and a stronger home and family. And I always say, you can't build a successful career unless you have a strong emotional unit that takes care of you at home, or a unit that you're a part of that takes care of you. So Scorpios are basically going to take care of business so they can take care of their feelings. Now, Mercury in Pisces means that your mind's going to be really mindful of your heart, your inner child, and your creative abilities. So, be mindful of that. You might, if you have trauma around love or trauma around being mistreated as a kid, that trauma may come up this week, just so you know. So don't be too surprised if it's coming up, you haven't really resolved it, or forgiven yourself or forgiven them for it. And a lot of times Scorpios don't forgive themselves. And even when they're not the fault, they still take the responsibility and say it's my fault, and they never forgive themselves. And so as a result, you actually stay littered with all kinds of darker, lower energies because you don't let it go. You hold on to it, probably from memory. That's why you're holding on to it, thinking that by holding on to it, it won't happen again. But it's the opposite. By holding on to it, it's guaranteed to happen again. So you're feeding it with those thoughts. Now, Mars trine Saturn says that ultimately, Scorpios who are emotionally a bit moody, particularly about beliefs and what they believe in, and so your ego has some attachment to being right all the time. I got to be right. And it's an emotional attachment. You only want to feel, you're wanting to feel what it's like to be right. You don't really care about being right. You care about the feeling of being right. You care about the feeling of the knowledge, the feeling of the mastery. So the universe is saying, no, that's codependency. We're going to have to cut that off and not allow that to happen anymore. And so as a result, what you can do from that point is that you are free then to go after your personal dreams. So letting go of your attitude about being right or wrong opens the doors for dreams to come true. I'm excited for you. I got to totally adjust my glasses. Somebody was like, he needs to take off those glasses. They're always falling down his face. It's just like, come on up here and fix them for me, really. Sagittarius is. Sag, you are now letting go of an attachment to a life purpose. So you were like, once thought you were supposed to be the world's greatest dentist, or you thought you were going to be the world's greatest astrologer, or you thought, you'd be out there making waves with this. It was a dream, it was a purpose, but now it's dead. And it's time to let it go. You can always pick it up again later, but let it go for now. Because you really have better potential with your intellectual setup. You are really here to shine from your intellect because you have so much amazing knowledge. When you couple that with the age of Aquarius and couple it with the energy coming in for Aquarius, you could do some incredible work in intellectual property or being a messenger, being a diplomat, anything intellectual. So the universe is saying, hey, you're holding on to an old life purpose, and that is keeping you from being on your intellectual path. So let it go. Bring it back later if you want, but let it go. Now, Mercury going into Pisces means that your mind is going to be particularly sensitive to feelings, all right? So you will be edgy. You're going to need more time to relax and take care of yourself. Your mind's going to be easily triggered by home issues and easily triggered by old issues from childhood. So you're going to be sensitive in these issues. But know that the intent of Mercury is to get clarity, not to cause trouble, but sometimes just thinking about it lights the fuse. And then, of course, we have the trine. Mars in the fourth says that, when it comes to sex and connection to others and intimacy, you've got some hang-ups right now. And it's not so much the hang-ups themselves, it's where your feelings end up going. Your feelings end up getting corrupted, where your feelings undermine your faith and trust in yourself. And so there's something that needs to heal in that regard. And so that you can then, with Mars trining Saturn, you can then at that point really feel secure in your whole life. So there's an insecurity with personal boundaries or resistance to change, and that resistance is causing you to feel unsteady and not take control of your foundation. So time to work on feelings, even though that's not your first forte. All righty. Capricorns. Capricorn, this full moon is in the 8th house. So what that means is, who knows? It can be, the 8th house is kind of private. It's full of secrets. It could be that someone passes on. Just saying. I mean, that's a real indicator because it's relationship in the house of death and sex and taxes. You might find you have to pay more in taxes than you thought, which to Capricorn is a crying moment. You know what I mean? But something's going to change around your comfort zones. Something very deep and very private. That's all I can tell you. But I can also tell you that it will directly result in your capacity to make more money. So whatever it is that you were holding on to was holding you back from abundance. I know in your mind you have a plan for everything, but you know, Capricorn, you got to work with the universe. It's a co-creation. And so the more you're connected to your intuition and non-assistant to a certain deal or a certain outcome, the better you're going to be. But for the time being, you know, it might be hard for you because you don't think that way. Now, Mercury in Pisces does mean that your mind starts thinking about your mind. And so, you know, if you have karma with mind games or karma with being institutionalized in a past life, that karma might come up once Mercury goes into Pisces. But be observational about it. It's not really bad news. It's really pointing out, hey, we're still harboring this in our mind, and we need to forgive it. We need to let it go. Mars trining Saturn says, hey, Mars in Cancer for you is the house of relationships. So you're changing your feelings about how to respond to yourself and how to respond to yourself that empowers your other relationships in life, doesn't pull out the rug, okay? So you're figuring out how to feel better about all relationships. But the universe says if you do this work, it's going to help you actually to think better, think sharper, and to think clearly. So basically what the planets are saying is that because you are, you know, stirring emotionally about your relationships, you're actually very foggy and not very sharp, and you can get a lot more of yourself if you just cleaned up stuff with that person or those people. All right. Aquarius! Happy birthday, Aquariuses. You have a full moon in the house of marriage and partnership. So Aquarius are going to get divorced from a person, a situation, or an approach they have to relationships at large. And realize, oh, this approach isn't working. And that approach might be tied to someone literally. So, you know, I have no Aquarius. You know, interesting about Aquarius, y'all can compartmentalize, right? So if you're in a very successful relationship with a person, you don't usually share anything about old people, old relationships with that new person. You kind of keep them separate. You don't talk about it. You're more private. You don't think it really matters. But you're harboring feelings. Even if the feelings are good feelings, you're harboring them. You're keeping them to yourself. And so the planets are suggesting that, you know, because you're holding this stuff back or you're not at least being transparent with yourself, you're screwing up your personality and you're screwing up your strength. So if you let this all go, forgive yourself, you'll be stronger, sharper, better, and probably more charming than ever, okay? Mercury in Pisces says that you're going to start thinking about money now and new ways to make money. And I want you to know the universe wants Pisces to get paid, okay? So you do deserve it. Wants Aquarius to get paid with Mercury in Pisces. You do deserve it, but you have to claim it, and you have to ask. And then Mars trining Saturn is basically, when it comes to your daily life and your lifestyle, you know, getting pissed off at your boss or, getting into a conflict with a coworker or any kind of like daily life kind of tension, that tension right now is actually also preventing your wealth. So you've got to make that neutral, is what this full moon says. You've got to neutralize that stuff, let it go, so that you can be in a better place to have great relationships. Well, there we go. That was funny. Alrighty. And then the Pisces. Pisces, you are working on letting go of an attachment to a lifestyle. This lifestyle might have been a substance abuse issue. It might have been that you were always, bumming off of others. It might have been that you were trying to take care of everyone, but not yourself. You have some sort of relationship to life. You think this is the way life is, and it's not. God is saying, no, fish can come out of water. So you might be afraid of having to change your life because you're so comfortable, but you can't really do that anymore. You're going to be that fish out of water, and you're going to be just fine. It won't be forever, just for a time being. So let go of a certain attachment to lifestyle, a certain relationship to performance, okay? And when you do, you end up opening up to a much greater faith with God universe. It's going to totally take your doubts away. It's going to totally build up new faith. And it's going to totally connect you to your guides as well. They just told me that. Yeah, I bet you there's a bunch of you that don't want to be like a tarot reader because you're afraid of what it means in karma or what it means for your karma. And basically that kind of thing is being called to just end. Now, Mercury's in your sign at the end of the week, so you can expect you to be very articulate and a good place for sales, good place to express yourself, good place to define things in a sharp way. So you can be really sharp once Mercury moves into Cancer, into Pisces. And when it comes to Mars and Cancer trining Saturn, first of all, your Mars in emotional level is around your heart and your personal dreams. So you might have been harboring resentment or anger or these types of things. And as a result, it is keeping you from being the person you really need to be. So God Universe is calling you on the time. It's time to take better care and let go of those broken heart feelings so that you can now get on to the person you're meant to be. And I'm excited to see that because Pisces are so cool and comfortable when they are happy themselves. Just say it. We're like little batteries of God's service. It's cool. All right, friends, that's all we have for this week's Soul Horoscopes. Now, remember, I do cut these up. Actually, I don't. And we put them out on YouTube every week on Tuesdays. So I recommend go listen to them again because there'll be a bunch of stuff that you didn't care about on this Friday, right? And you'll realize, oh my God, I totally denied that moment. All right, so from our advertisers and promotions, don't forget Unite the Light is right around the corner. I'm telling you that just so you are aware and you'll book your tickets. You can book May 17th and 18th, and we'll have tickets up sometimes next week. If you go to, actually our cloud product, so if you want to go buy 40 Days to Past Lives in Karma, good thing. Don't forget about that. But you'll be registered at the cloud, which is SiriusJoy.cloud. And once you're in the cloud, we will remind you of things that you need to know. So it's coming up around the corner. Cannot wait to see you. Also, the Love and Lust reports. I don't know if you know this. Remember, we're going to actually run some of these commercials, but bow, chicka, bow, wow. The Love and Lust reports are back and live at SiriusJoy.com. This is a 20-minute audio reading, basically, done by me. It's dynamic. It's brilliant. I don't know anyone who even does this, where you have a dynamic, custom-made reading on audio from me about your love life. And they're good. And we had them off for a while because we gave them a facelift. Like we made our Tomorrowland even more tomorrow. But they are a lot of fun. And once you go, you're going to want a lot of other people's Love and Lust report because it's so accurate. It's sort of like, and also talking about things like sex and, stuff that we don't normally talk about here on YouTube. But it's just one of the many features you get with Sirius Joy. You sign up at Sirius Joy for just $3.99. You'll have immediate access to the Love and Lust report and what you're good at in with love and what you're not good at. All right. One last thing. You can advertise. Oh, leading out loud. Let's do that. Okay. Why not? Let's put it up. I don't know if you saw this, but my boy here, Scott Cruz, and I do a Thursday afternoon kind of talk show. And we've been talking about some heated stuff. Our last episode was about sex. And some people did not like that. In fact, Scott, I don't know if you know, but we've gotten some heated emails saying that they did not like the way we talked about sex. That just tells us how insecure everyone is about sex still. So it's live right now. You can watch it right now on my site. And we get real honest about how sex, intimacy, and boundaries have changed. And we speculate it, on our psychic awareness. All right. And then lastly, if you want to advertise with us, we're going to be putting more and more commercials into our program and less in-program announcements. So you won't hear me at the end giving you commercials anymore. You'll actually go to them and you'll be able to watch them. So if you want to advertise on any of Sirius Joy's networks, just email us at advertise@SiriusJoy.com. Advertise@SiriusJoy.com. You'll talk to Jenny D personally, and she'll help place the ad. One thing people don't know is we actually schedule the ad based on your company's astrology. You will not get that anywhere in the world other than ours. Ad Intuitive. It's intuitive for a reason. Sharing is caring. Please tell all your friends about Namaste Today Live. We are in a place to grow. A lot of people are realizing they need help. And this is my 19th year. So I'm about to celebrate 20. Point is, I'm not going anywhere. And a lot of you have grown because of me and what we do here at Sirius Joy and our team. So please recommend another. That's the best way you can say thanks. We also have a Facebook group at SiriusJoy.club. It's a great way to start to hang out with our peeps and get to know what we do for free. Our link tree is SiriusJoy.social. You can find all the links to all the things that we do. And if you'd rather listen instead of watch, we're on Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. Special thanks to my co-executive producer, Diana Stefano, you rock, our artist, graphic artist, Christopher Sage, our director, Adam Tim, and our teaching faculty, who I'm in love with, Robbie, Kristen, Gwen, and Dikey. And thanks to all the SJ Light Runners who make our life better every day. All right, friends, that's all I have for now. Remember, I love you. Live, love, be.
I believe we need to come together once a year. Thank you for believing in yourself. Thank you for believing in us. Where do you need help? What resources do you need?
You are much closer to making your dent in social media than you think.
You're that leader.